Hello, Saints. Looking in the book of Revelation, we have several texts that are what's called dual directional texts. That means the text points back across what we just read, but prepares us to look forward to the next section. The first such verse that we come across like that is in the promise made to the seventh church in chapter 3 of the book of Revelation, verse 21. Jesus tells Laodicea that to those who overcome, he promises that they will sit with him in his throne as he's overcome to sit with his Father in his throne. Now this looks back over the seven churches, and this is the ultimate promise. And you remember when you see the seven churches, they're not seven individual churches. There's only one church, but there are seven phases of it across the span of Christian history. And so this promise is to the whole church, not just to the church of Laodicea. And so it prepares us here with this to move forward to the next section, which is the seven seals. And there we see played out across time the church overcoming in the church age. It begins in chapters 4 and 5. We see Jesus in the throne room, where he is the Lamb who comes before God, who is able to open the seven-sealed scroll. And he takes the scroll from the right side of the Father in order to take his rightful place with him in the throne. And he opens the seven seals. And across the time period of the Christian church, we see that the seven seals are opened, beginning with the four horses, followed by the saints under the altar who are crying out for justice. How long, O Lord, until you judge? And then the scenes of the second coming, the signs in the heavens and everything just before they come. And they call for the rocks to fall on them and hide in the caves from he who sits on the throne and the wrath of the Lamb. And they ask the question at the end there, who was able to stand? And we go to the interlude there, the 144,000, they're able to stand. And then we have the seventh seal, which is silence in heaven for the space of a half hour. And so here we see the saints overcoming through the church history and giving the message. And in the 144,000 chapter 7, we see that there's the saints who stand before the throne in verse 15 and 16, who praise him in day and night forever and ever. And the Lamb in the middle of the throne will draw his tabernacle over them. And so this brings them into the throne of God. And so again, this is the promise made to those who overcome will sit with Jesus in his throne, just as he's overcome and sit with the Father in his throne. The promise here of this dual directional text connects the church of the pre-second coming, what's called the church militant, with the church victorious when we sit on the throne with Christ. So the verse is very important. It speaks to us today of the promise to come, and we see to it when the promise is fulfilled and we get to sit with Jesus. This is the story of Revelation that takes us through with these different verses that are called dual directional, that tie the story together all the way to the end of the book. And of course, the book ends with what? The new earth and the new city. This is the ultimate promise, the ultimate restoration, where God has taken the kingdom back from Satan and restored all things. This is the promise of the book of Revelation. Remember, it's not about things falling out of the sky, dragons and beasts. That's the backstory. It's a story of the revelation of Jesus Christ and the restoration of all things. Blessings.